This video is designed to help you organize your photos when using an Android tablet or Android smartphone. In this case, I'm using an Android tablet. It's running Android version 7, and it's a Samsung tablet. So we're looking at the Gallery app on the Samsung tablet. It happens to be this one right here. It's on the home screen with a yellow-orange background and the outline of a flower. So let's tap that. What you see here is a collection of 10 photographs. These are snapshots taken out in the backyard of various flowers. You'll notice that we are in the gallery system. There are 3 categories: pictures, albums, and stories. And pictures is selected. We know that because it's bolded and the underline is obvious there. These 2 items are grayed out. And this is where we want to start. You can imagine this would be a collection of photographs from a vacation, or like this, a group of photos taken in the backyard. And what you want to do is you want to go through them and you want to decide which ones belong in a special album. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, of these 10 photos, we're going to pick 3 or 4 or 5 that are the favorites, and we're going to create an album of just those items, and we're going to call it Best Flowers album or something like that. So what we do is we might want to go in and look at each photo individually, so we can do that by tapping a photo, and we get a sense of it. And as I scroll through these, I see what I've got, and I'm trying to decide on what I want to mark as the ones that are going to go to the Best Flowers album. That's a nicey. That's a nice one. So we got some things in here that might work. Okay, so once I've done this, I've kind of made up my mind about which ones are going to go into the album. I'm going to go back a step by tapping up here in the upper left corner. Now you notice that because I didn't touch the screen for a moment, it reverted to full screen with no menus or icons on the top or bottom. And this can kind of throw you, namely you're getting ready to go tap something and then it disappears. Just touch the screen again and these icons on the bottom and the icons on the top will reappear. And they'll disappear just as fast. So let's go ahead and tap it again, and now I'm going to tap in the upper left corner. And this takes me back a step to where I see all the images. Now I need to indicate which ones are going to go into this album. So what I do is on the top right corner, there are 3 dots. It's a 3-dot menu, and I'm going to tap that, and I'm going to review my choices here. The choice I want for this purpose is Edit. So I'm going to tap Edit, and you'll notice that each of the photos, each thumbnail here, has a little hollow circle in the upper left corner. And when I tap on a photo, you're going to see a check mark placed in that, and that will indicate that that photo is selected. So I kind of like the first one. I've selected that. I kind of like this one. I really like this one. And then I'm going to pick this close-up right here. So I've selected 4 of them. Now in order to take the next step, which is to put them in a new album that I'm going to create, I touch the 3 dots again. And my choices are copy to an album or move to an album. I'm going to select move to an album. So I'm getting a warning, can't move items. The selected items are already in the only album on this tablet. You can create a new album and move these items to it. Well, that's fine. I did erase all the photos out of this tablet just to have a clean slate, if you will, for this demonstration. But I'm going to create a new album. That's what I wanted to do anyway. So I'm going to say Create Album. And it's waiting for me to give it a name. It has Album 1, but it's highlighted, indicating when I start typing it will be replaced. So I'm going to say capital B, Best Flowers. And I'm going to put the word album in there just so it reminds me that we're looking at an album. and I'm going to say create. And it says it's moving the photos to the album. Now you'll notice that none of these photos disappeared. They didn't leave this panel of 10 pictures. And that's great. We just wanted to mark them as being moved to an album. I wish instead of using the word move to an album, they use the word include in an album or mark for an album or something like that. Move implies that it's going to leave here and go somewhere else, which it did not do. But let's see what happened in the albums. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tap this middle category. And sure enough, we see 2 albums in here. The first one is always going to be here. This is the camera album. This represents all of the pictures that have been taken. But this is the one we just created, and you can tell it, you start to see the title, Best Flowers ALB ... And there's a tiny number down there, says 4, to tell me how many images are in there. So I tap it, and I now see the images that are in the album. Now, along the bottom here, I'm getting a pop-up that's giving me hints on how to use the software. I'm just going to put that away by tapping the X. It's trying to be helpful, but there we go. And the other thing about this window is it's, I think, a little confusing. These icons here are not photos that are included in the album. These are the first photo in a couple of different albums. And if you had 10 or 20 albums on your device, you'd have 10 or 20 of these icons. So for purposes of understanding this better, let's just pretend that those are not there. So we are now looking at the 4 photos that are included in the album. Notice, if you can, it's hard to see, there's a tiny orange outline around this album as opposed to this album. And because of that outline, it indicates that the content of this album is being shown on the panel to the right. So again, if we sort of ignore that and just focus on the 4 images, if we tap them, we can get them full screen. Again, those icons on the top and the bottom will go away if I don't do anything. And this is a way that I could conveniently show a friend these 4 photos. When I'm finished with reviewing them, as I go back and forth, I tap the screen again, and I go to the upper left corner to back up a step, and I've backed up a step to the albums. Again, these are different albums. You can have a whole string of them down here. Whichever one has the orange outline is the one that will be emphasized and displayed. I'm going to click the upper left corner again to back up. Now I'm in that cover sheet for albums, and I'm going to go ahead and tap back on pictures and get back to where we started. Hope that helps.